Another commentary done by Diggity, upper left-hand corner. We've got Hedgick from the illustrious team Ash. Bottom left-hand corner, we got... Sorry, bottom left-hand corner, we got Hedgick. That's the second time I've done that. Upper left-hand corner, we got Aegis, starting as the hot pink Zerg. The map is Polypoid. This is a best of 3 to see who advances and who is eliminated. And it is BSL Hasuleague round of 32, Group G, final match. Trying to do the alphabet in my head as far as like the round of 30. How many groups are there in the round of 32? Is H? EFG H. So I got Group H, and then we'll be on to the round of 16. I will say, up to this stage, the matches have been phenomenal in my opinion, interior to the round of 32, the ones that we've had. Round of 16, the replays are required. I might do some casting at night, just FYI. I don't know when this will... Actually, it probably won't matter by the time you guys view this. And so it's mostly for the announcement of the Twitch audience, so that I can create some padding in order to have a lot of replays going up to YouTube while I am on vacation. In the meantime, Overlord making its way top right-hand corner. We have another Overlord making its way bottom right-hand corner for Hedgick. So we are not going to end up with a vision advantage. I'm not sure who to favor in this matchup. Aegis has shown some very, very proficient Zerg play thus far. He's going to go for spawning pool extractor. Looks like off 9 pool rather than overpool. We do have an overpool opposite corner. Is Hedgick going to go for the 12 hatchery? Looks like he's in fact going to go for a 12 pool, or sorry, overpool, which is going to give him an economic lead. That's not game ending, but it does give him an advantage. One of the old rules of Zerg versus Zerg is whoever puts down their pool last tends to be in a lead, although there's... I don't feel like that's the best rule of thumb, considering it's like if you're putting your pool down after a 12 pool and after, sorry, a 12 hatchery, and someone's 4 pooled or 5 pooled, you know, it's not... That's a game-losing situation, potentially. Anyway. Notwithstanding, Hedgick gonna go ahead and drop the expansion behind this. I have seen plenty of Zerg players win it off a 9 pool regardless. Zerglings spawning. Let's see if they go bottom left initially. I have a feeling they're going to go cross map to bottom right to start, since this Overlord's already directing its way that direction. And unfortunately, that's going to give plenty of time for the Zerglings to spawn on Hedgick's side of the map. So it's going to be a sizable disadvantage for Aegis to try to surmount. But it is not insurmountable. Tech to layer, Zergling speed there as well. Going to be a much later tech to layer opposite side, but there's just a lot of larva that Hedgick's going to be able to work with. Zergling finally spotting bottom left. And we are seeing the move back. That I don't know whether that's going to give... And Hedgick actually brings some drones. Okay, wisely brings some drones down to engage this. This is 3 drones off lost mining time for Hedgick, which gives Aegis a little bit of opportunity to sneak back. This is also potentially going to expose some drones overall. And Zergling able to slip through the lines, loses one of them for the effort, but able to walk in and see the lack of the lair. And so also harassing, getting some more economic damage done by harassing the drone lines. So the drones being pulled off momentarily, plus this is actually going to give Aegis a lot of options to win this. So Lair's going to finish. Now engaging with the Zerglings at the natural expansion. And actually these 3 drones look like they're for lost. More Zerglings spawning for Hedgick. And Hedgick honestly might have accidentally played himself pulling those drones off the line. So more Zerglings moving their way in. We do have, it looks like an advantage. The natural expansion up, but not able to mine. So more lava there for Hedgick, but that Spire well on the way for Aegis. I don't know what sort of situation Hedgick thinks he's in, but as he moves up with that Overlord, let's see if he spawns a lot of Zerglings and makes a run for it the opposite direction. This is a situation where I feel like Aegis would be well suited to maybe sacrifice one of his drones to build a Sutton colony, which it looks like he is in fact going to opt to do. Now keep in mind there was all of that, so a superior drone count for Hedgick, but there was all of that lost mining time where the drones were pulled off the line to defend. Zerglings piling up on the ramp. And also the timing of this, I like that Aegis is holding off that creep colony to the very last second. Now morphing it. Yeah, I'm buying himself some time. It looks like a drone a little bit off the rally point, but that Spire's going to finish. That's going to allow 2 Mules to get in the air, and now Hedgick in a spot of trouble. because if he does not breach and get some damage done with these Zerglings at the natural expansion near immediately, he's going to be at a Mutalisk deficit, and he's going to have Mutalisks that are taking out his Zerglings. However, Aegis still needs to defend right here, and ooh, a drone looked like it was, I think that was a carry command return, and it moved well out of position. He was trying to redirect it to look, I believe, that mineral patch, but wasn't punished for it. The Mutalisks are going to spawn, and Hedgic's going to have to return home. In the meantime, opting to move to Evolution Chamber play to try to play catch up. His lair is finished, but we do not have a Spire as of yet. Interestingly enough, Aegis not dedicating any Mutalisk to clear the Zerglings out. The drone's going to wander away for a moment. So all Mutalisks engaging. Hedgic emptying that natural expansion. We have a Spore Colony building there. Do we have a Spore? We have a Spore making its way, but there might be some additional drone kills. They're actually working their way on the Spore. Aegis over dedicating. Honestly, I think he might have been able to get a drone kill or two. And now Hedgic up 5 workers. However, Aegis with considerable map control, a superior air army. And he might be able to continue that into a lead. And there's a lot of territory where it's still exposed. Yeah, still might be able to get some additional drone kills. Working on that creep colony to the south, that's a lot of denied patches. And more Mutalisks moving up. I do believe he's going to be able to wipe out that Spore Colony before it's able to get anything accomplished. A second one being dropped immediately, and this is Hedgic really pumping the drones in the midst of this. One of the Mutalisks wandering into position where it's taking a lot of free damage. And keep in mind that's also doing a lot of splash. Some additional drones picked off. Hedgic somehow with and that Mutalisk going to the wrong engagement point. So 2 spores up. Aegis still with map control. He's still pumping the Mutalisk. More Zerglings making their way across. This is giving Hedgic a solid supply lead. Another Spore Colony dropping. The Mutalisk wandering in position to try to deal with it, not quite there. And Aegis really neglecting his flight path with these Mutalisks. So I think he's hoping that he's just going to be able to maintain indomitable air control over the long term. But honestly, I think Hedgic has managed to saturate both the main and the natural expansion and negate any damage those Mutalisks might have done. Just now dropping that Spire, he's got plenty of ability to rebuild. Aegis, I think, would be better suited to maybe maintain the air army he's got here, grab a natural expansion, and play from there. But he needs to clear these Zerglings midfield first, maybe go for some Overlord kills. Try to find that Overlord, these 2 Overlords bottom right, to try to equalize things, slow Hedgic's economy down. Aegis right now, a drone out of position potentially to build that hatchery, but he hasn't been saving up resources to do it, so that's just at a loss. He is going to have that Carapace advantage, the Zerglings flooding back. And I feel like Aegis was in such a great position to win this, but he's kind of flubbing it by sacrificing a lot of Mutalisks. Maybe not accustomed to playing this sort of defensive style, and he still hasn't hunted down additional Overlords, and I believe this is sufficient Zerglings to maybe open up the rest of that drone lead. Sunken Colony trying to do some damage, drones being picked off, nice hold position. Zergling micro there to increase that drone lead, and now I think Hedgic might have it. He's got all sorts of defense, he's able to plop down that second Spore, he's got 3 Spores at the main. Aegis he does not have the strong enough economy to cycle this around to, yes, he's going to maintain some air control for a bit of time, but that's 4 Mutalisks that are now being produced immediately. We have 5 that are only out in the air right this second for Aegis. So Aegis, despite showing some very strong early game where he might have been able to win it, I'm wondering if this is a tournament nerves sort of situation. Hedgic using the Zerglings wisely to scout to make sure there wasn't any additional base. This is a very unfortunate dropping of this slime, of whatever this is. What is this purple stuff? Do they have a name for it? Because you don't drop the ball off your Zerg. You're not a basketball player. Now Aegis grabbing that natural expansion, but it's coming considerably late. Hedgic has got it spotted. Hedgic actually going for +1 weapons to start. Creep, thank you. Chat letting me. Yeah, dropping the creep. Well, that sounds like a positive thing for Zerg. What is the equivalent? Dehydrating? I'm going to say that that's the Zerg euphemism is instead of dropping the ball, dehydrating the creep. He dehydrated the creep. Which actually, if you take it out of context, Sounds like a thing that is valuable for women to do, I guess. But anyway, natural expansion taking some damage. Not sure where I'm going with this cast all of a sudden. Hedgick able to do all sorts of damage to the drones. The Zergling's coming up alongside. I think that... I don't know that that is going to be the GG moment, but that's certainly going to give Aegis pause for thought that this game is starting to move out of control. Hedgick with twice the supply right this second. Unfortunate. Nearly a full controlled group of Mutalisks produced. And in one advantage for Aegis, at least, is he's going to have the +1 armor, but he just doesn't have sufficient Mutalisks, honestly, to make a difference. And I love the spread out here from Hedgick towards the bottom right to see if the Mutalisks are making their way to the bottom right to engage his Overlords, to also get a good eye on their count. That's a full control group of Mutas. He can be aggressive with him because he's got the defensive spore colonies, which buys him time. Aegis has his natural expansion up, but he's got half the drone count, half the supply count, half the gas intake as well. So I don't think there... Yeah, I don't know that there's any way. So I almost want to ×2 this one, but we're going to play it out here. We will play it out. Maybe there's a miracle that can happen in between. It would have to be Hedgick really flubbing, really dehydrating the creep on his Mutalisk micro overall. Zergling taking some damage right there. Aegis migrating up. Might be able to get an evolution chamber. I don't think that buys him a lot, depending on edge. +1 weapons going to complete for Hedgick. +1 armor is there. 1 Overlord. Honestly, Hedgick can afford to just sack it. Instead, now engaging. And this should be it. Aegis engaging and just +1, even without +1 weapons, this is too many Mutalisks. Mutalisks just getting absolutely obliterated, and that should be GG right there. I'm going to move on to game 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.